Gimmick Puppet FTK. I've been waiting for this to hit Master Duel for a while. This is the list I've been running. It's been pretty consistent for me. I'll even go over some of the other options you can play with this in case you really want to open Mansion no matter what. But let's get into it. So we got Valor, we got one Droll, one Valor, three Maxi, three Ash Blossom, one Ghost Bell, and that is it for our hand traps, and brings us to our first Gimmick Puppet Scissor Arms. When this card is normal summon, you can send one Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to your graveyard. Most of the time, it will be Rogue Doll. So, there you go. Next, we have Gimmick Puppet Terror Baby, and the art on this card is insane. Like, that is insanity. When this card is normal summon, you can target one Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard except Puppet Terror Baby. Special summon it in defense position, and that is pretty sick because that that lets you do things even if you don't get your one card FTK, which one card FTK insane, but you'll see. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation or Gimmick Puppet monster's effects this turn. That is an insanely good effect. Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers, one of the best cards in the deck. If it's normal or special summon, you can send a Gimmick Puppet monster with a different level than this card from your deck to your graveyard. This card's level becomes that monster's. That effect alone is insane because of how good Rogue Doll is, and we'll get to that in a moment. So you can only use this effect of Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers once per turn. You can banish this card from your grave, target up to 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters you control, increase their levels by 4 until the end of this turn. Also insanely good. So Gimmick Puppet Fiendish Knight, I actually don't use him very often. Most deck lists have him at 1. I haven't personally used him that much. I'm sure he does have some utility. I've used him like maybe once or twice, but if this card's in your hand, you can target one Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard or one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to its owner's field in defense position, but its effects are negated. Then special summon this card. If this card is sent to the graveyard except from the hand, you can add it to your hand. You can only use each effect of Gimmick Puppet Fiendish Knight once per turn, and cannot special summon from the extra deck the turn you activated either of these cards' effects except Gimmick Puppet monsters. And so I've needed this like when one of my things have been negated, or sometimes just like I have to get a monster on my opponent's board to burn. So it's been useful a couple times. Gimmick Puppet Bisque Doll. So you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding a Gimmick Puppet monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppet monsters you control with card effects this turn. Also a really good effect. I've actually used her probably 3 or 4 times in the several games I've played. She's okay. Even the first effect is okay. Sometimes something might get stopped, or you might not be able to FTK, and you have to go past turn 2, and you just need one more body on the board. She has plenty of uses. Gimmick Puppet Rogue Doll. This card is why the deck is so good now. Just amazing. If this card is in your hand, you can reveal a Gimmick Puppet monster in your extra deck. Special summon both this card and one Gimmick Puppet monster with the same name as the revealed rank from your deck. So that effect is already amazing because you can get 8 or 4 so easily that way. If this card is sent to the graveyard, except from the hand, you can add it to your hand. And that is why Little Soldiers is so good, because in addition to increasing his level to level 8, you can basically send Rogue Doll immediately, get Rogue Doll to your hand, and then do the Rogue Doll effect, which is pretty sick. And the fact that you can beam out 4 or 8 from your deck is just amazing. And of course, you can only use each effect of Gimmick Puppet Rogue Doll once per turn, and it has that same, you can't special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate either of these cards' effects except Gimmick Puppet monsters, which, fair. Next we have Cattle Scream. Cattle Scream is also some of just the most amazing new support. You can detach one material from an XYZ monster, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream once per turn. An XYZ monster that has this card's material gains this effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field defense position. Also good. We have one Foolish Burial because sometimes you might have to Foolish this, sometimes you might have to Foolish this, sometimes you might have to Foolish this. It just depends. Also, you can Foolish... can you Foolish Rogue Doll? Except from the hand, yeah. You can even Foolish Rogue Doll and get Rogue Doll effect, which pretty sick. Next we have Rank Up Magic Ardent Chaos Force. You're basically using this because this one can like reoccur itself easily. Target one rank 5 or higher XYZ monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one number C or 1C XYZ monster that is one rank higher than that monster you control. By using that target as materials, it is treated as an XYZ summon. Transfer its materials to the summoned monster. When a rank 5 or higher XYZ monster is special summoned to your field while this card's in the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can add this card to your hand. So, Recursion for free. You can only use this effect of Rank Up Magic Ardent Chaos Force once per duel. So, pretty sick. Also, this is just very easy to add off of Gimmick Puppet Phantasix. So, also very good. 3 Condolence Puppet. Send Gimmick Puppet monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck +1. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one machine XYZ monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while face up in the field. You can only use each effect of Condolence Puppet once per turn. Also very good. 1 Triple Tactics Talent. You just need it sometimes. Also, it's a target for Designator if you do, for whatever reason, go to turn 2. Next we have Mansion of Dreadful Dolls. This is your main combo enabler. When this card is activated, you can add one Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to your hand. Gimmick Puppet monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle and are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters except XYZ monsters. So no Valor for them, no Ash Blossom for them off of your Gimmick Puppet monster effects. It's pretty sweet. Once per turn, you can detach one material from an XYZ monster you control, target a Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position. Only activate one Mansion of the Dreadful Dolls per turn. 2 Called By. By the way, this card is just a 1-card combo to an FTK, which is sick. 2 Called By, 1 Crossout, 2 Imperm. 1 Service Puppet Play. You will not use this card very often, but you can add it for free for one of your other cards, and we'll get into that in just a second. So, target monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Gimmick Puppet monster XYZs you control. Take control of those monsters until the end phase. If this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent. You can control a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster, banish this card, and then attach one XYZ monster in either target one XYZ monster in either graveyard, special summon to the field defense position. So not horrible. 1 Gimmick Puppet Giante's Doll. You're mainly using this just because it's a rank 4, so you can get your level 4 out off of Rogue Doll, so you could beam out little soldiers if you needed to. So it's detached to target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls, gain control of them until the end phase. For the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon except Gimmick Puppet monsters, nor declare an attack except with the XYZ monsters. Tribute this card. All monsters you currently control become level 8 until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. So, not the best, not the worst. Next, that brings us to number 15, Giant Gimmick Puppet Grinder. Up to twice per turn during your main phase, you detach a material from this, target one special summon your monster your opponent controls and destroy it. If it was an XYZ monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. This is good going second sometimes, because if you play against like Kashtira and they banish one of your giant puppet or strings, but you still need to go into a rank 8 to do damage, and it's very easy to go into multiple rank 8s with this deck, you can just be like, okay, I'll just use Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder to destroy the monsters I summon to my opponent's field. And they'll burn because we'll summon XYZ monsters. So very useful. Can help you if you go past turn 2. Number 40, Gimmick Puppet of Strings. This card is amazing. At least for this deck, it's amazing. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card. You put a string counter on each face-up monster on the field except this card. Once per turn, during the end phase of the opponent of a player who placed a string counter by this effect, destroy the monsters with string counters, and if you do, inflict 500 for each monster. That effect, that last part, not so good. You mainly just can't care about the string counter and the fact that you can rank this up into dark strings. And dark strings, which you want 2 regular strings, 2 dark strings, at least 2 of each. At least 2 of each. If this card special summon, destroy as many monsters with string counters as possible, and if you do, draw 1 card, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack among those destroyed monsters in your graveyard if tied. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, place 1 string counter on each face-up monster your opponent controls. Also, just super sick. So this card's just really good. And if you special summon this from the grave off Terror Baby, its effect will activate to destroy things and inflict damage, which, amazing. You don't even have to XYZ it, you can just special it off Terror Baby. But we'll get into all the combos in a moment, and you'll get to see them live, and I'll break down how the deck works step by step. So you can also do the Gimmick Puppet FTK if you want to be like me and just know if you're going to win in your first turn or not when you open your hand. So this is your alternative win condition, which I might show as well. Number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. If you can't burn them, or your burn strategy is gone for some reason, you have Leo and you have C88, Gimmick Puppet Disaster Leo. So once per turn, if you have no cards in your spell and trap zone, you can detach 1 material from this card. If you do, place a destiny counter on this card. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. If 3 destiny counters are on this card, you win the duel. Now, you're not going to be able to keep it out for 3 turns. You're going to be ranking up into this. So must be special summoned with a rank up magic spell targeting number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. Neither player can target this card in the field with effects. Once per turn, detach 1 material from this card. Inflict 100 damage to your opponent. Sorry, not 100. 1,000 damage to your opponent. During your end phase, if your opponent's life points are 2,000 or less and this card has no materials, you win. You win the duel. Done. So if you can't burn them all the way, just bust Leo out, bust him out, bam. Next we have Phantasix. This is probably your most important XYZ because this does like everything for you. So it's any 2 level 8s, detach a material from this card, add a rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand. Also, you can now normal summon 1 machine monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summon. So you're just gonna be like, okay, normal summon Terror Baby for free? Anyone? Really cool. If you special summon a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster, except during your damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard to either field in defense, and then you can add 1 rank up magic spell from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Phantasix once per turn. Super amazing card. And then we have number C15. We're not going to use this very often, but sometimes you need it. So once per turn, you can detach material from this card, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if it was a monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So sometimes you'll need them. Very often, most of the time, you don't, and you could replace them with like another Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings if you really wanted to. We already went over him. Gimmick Puppet CXYZ Gimmick Puppet Fanatics Machinix. So if it's special summoned, you can add one puppet trap from your deck to your hand. That's the card that just gives this to you for free, so you might as well play one of the trap. Detach one material from this card, special summon one monster from either graveyard to your opponent's field in defense position, also a really good effect. If a monster special summoned to your opponent's field during the damage step, you can target one of them, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of its original attack. You can only use each effect of CXYZ Gimmick Puppet Fantasix Machinix once per turn. So, just decent all around. Very good card. And then finally, we have Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll. 2 machine monsters. During your main phase, if you control this link summon card, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, and you guessed it, except for machine XYZ monsters. Also, take one Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck, either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Then if all monsters you control are Gimmick Puppet monsters, you can special summon one Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of Gimmick Puppet Chimera Doll once per turn. And so that is our main deck and our extra deck. Let's quickly talk about text. If you want to play this, you can also play... It's the one Crystal Beast card. It's the trap. Where is it? Is it this one? No. There's some Crystal Beast trap that if you banish it, it lets you add the fields, any field spell. Here it is. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Crystal Beast monster, one field spell from your deck to your hand. So if you run this, you just run Cobalt Eagle and Rainbow Bridge's Salvation. And you run Foolish Burial of Goods. That way you can send it to the graveyard first turn. It's an easy way to add your field spell. We've really got into that since Terraforming's banned, which is hilarious. Just give us back Terraforming at that point. So here's me playing against Tempeh. This was really funny. This is the combo and the combo explained. So they're like, I'm gonna go second. I'm like, oh, okay. So he drew Mansion. Bam, you just slam down Mansion. They're gonna ash it. We don't care. Like, that's okay. We actually want Mansion for the protection effect, and the fact that we got Ash away is good, because now we can use soldiers, get Doll to hand, use Doll. We could have really grabbed anything. We just grabbed a second Doll. They're going to Veiler. It doesn't matter, because we have the field spell. So the effect is going to go off. So Overlay Cattle Scream and Doll go into Fantasix. Fantasix. We're just going to use the effect just because we can, even though the monster's 0 attack. We're going to summon Effect Failure out. We're going to detach, and make sure you detach Cattle, because you're going to need Cattle. And then we're going to use the Rank Up effect. And then we're going to use that to add the Puppet Trap. And here's where we start getting interesting. Here's where we use Cattle. We detach the non-CXYZ Fantasix, just the regular one. Bring Cattle out, and then bam, we go to Strings. The Rank Up magic activates to go back to hand, so you can recycle it for free. We're going to use Strings effect, and we're going to detach Cattle. And then we're going to also use CXYZ Puppets effect. And we're going to then go into Dark Strings. And Dark Strings is going to activate. And at the same time, because we summoned a Gimmick Puppet XYZ that was not during the damage step, we're going to be able to recur Fantasix. So here we go. Fantasix is back. Rank Up Magic is back. Dark Strings effect. Destroy everything with a string counter on it. And now we are going to rank up again, going into another Dark Strings. We're going to use that Dark String effect to destroy that, dealing them another 2. We're going to use the original Dark String effect to bring back something and then also put a counter on it. We're going to go into Chimeradol effect. We're going to get Terror Baby. We're going to use Terror Baby normal, or Phantasm's normal for Terror Baby. Bring back the strings, destroy the last card on their board, and bam, they've taken 3,000, ending the duel. And that is your Gimmick Puppet FTK. But I hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. And for all my YouTube people, I hope you enjoy this deck profile. And if you want more, let me know.